Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, fam. Let's get right to it. I am so honored. I am so excited to introduce to you guys the legend, the icon, the trailblazer, the queen of noise, Miss Cherie Currie.
Oh, Mike.
Wow, how are you?
I love you. I love you.
Oh my God. I'm just kind of nerding out right now. I am so happy to have you here.
Oh, well, me too. And I was telling you just for that split second because I was sitting in the backstage area going, where is he? And I guess because I didn't type my name in, I don't know. But anyhow, Brandon, he reached out to me, the great Brandon Straka, and said that you are going to be talking to one of my dearest friends. It's like, oh, I just love him so much. Brandon.
Yeah, that's my boy. How are you doing, first of all? You've probably been super busy right now. I know you're going on your European tour soon.
I am. I leave on the 22nd. I'm doing great. I'm really doing good. We're keeping on fighting the good fight, my friend.
Yes, and I want to say hey to all our friends in the chat. As Cherie says, we are all nerding out. I hope you know, by the way, how loved you are. I have never seen such an outpouring from me having any guest on. Everyone is just so excited to see you and so happy that you're here.
Oh my gosh, that means so much to me. So much to me, especially since right now, because I'm speaking out about this transgender deal with the kids, that I feel there's an indoctrination going on. I'm really getting a lot of backlash. And the thing is that I have so many transsexual friends, some for 48 years. I am such a supporter of, LBGT all my life. And to all of a sudden, I'm starting to get a couple of shows canceled in November. And because they are attacking these clubs and threatening them, so on and so forth. And it's like, wow, this cancel culture bullshit is it's so unnerving because, if you can't stand up for kids, you stand for nothing, in my opinion. And,
Yeah.
you got to say something. You can't sit silent over this kind of thing. I can't. I've been fighting for women's rights, for gay rights all my life. So I can't just let it go.
It's so crazy, the things that I never in my life thought would even be up for discussion. I never thought I would ever be one of these people who's like, oh, the children. So, but things are so heinous now that I don't understand how anyone couldn't be. So I don't even know where to start because you've lived like 17 lifetimes by now.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the interesting things is so now you have trans mania, you have them inventing new gender categories by the day, but you really came up in a time that was much more individualistic where people were allowed to be sort of androgynous and be their own unique individual. Whereas now it's just, there's a label for everything. There's a category for everything. If a man doesn't dress stereotypically masculine, oh, you're not a real man. You're not really a man, and they'll just try to trans you. So can you imagine, like, I feel like, even when I was growing up, like, I know David Bowie was very influential for you. And I feel like when I was growing up, I just wanted to be David Bowie. I didn't want to be male. I just wanted to be David Bowie.
Me too. They would have, trust me. I mean, in today's day and age, they would have had me on cross-sex hormones and cut my breasts off. Honestly.
Same. I wouldn't have gotten out of middle school with my balls intact.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you have to find yourself as a kid. And when especially when they're bringing transgenderism or this transgender agenda into kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade. I mean, I've literally done a deep dive looking at old photos of myself in school and thinking, I knew what I was thinking then, and it wasn't gender. I'll tell you that much right now. And I've been looking at it like drug dealers or how I got into drugs is because it was presented to me at the Sugar Shack. And otherwise, I wouldn't have known about Quaaludes. I wouldn't have known about Placidyls and Tuinals and cocaine and all of that. Just really awful, terrible pot that I didn't smoke, right? But the thing is that, you know, they are introducing into these young people's brains a question that they would never question. All they want to do is be kids. All they want to do is fit in. They're just finding themselves. So they are just so ripe and so vulnerable for manipulation. And then, you know, all they have to do, and plus, not only that, you know, you become the popular kid. You become, you get the attention in school from these teachers and activists and all that. And all you have to do is, I had a weak moment, these little kids, I say little because I'm sorry, first, second, third grade, that's little. You know, all of a sudden you say, oh, well, maybe, you know, in a moment of confusion or weakness, maybe I could be a boy. Well, then they just grab it and then they have you, and they won't tell the parents.
Oh, it's so sick. And I've had friends of mine that this has happened to their kids. And, you know, I've felt so strongly about this for a long time because I really think it's just a basic issue of right and wrong. But I've never really, in my life, I'm never really around kids much, but lately my friends that I live with here, they have their friends over who bring their kids, and seeing them, it just reinforces everything I already felt, to see a child and be like, this is the age that they are telling kids, you were born in the wrong body. You are capable of making lifelong choices. It's so nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful that I'm one of the producers on a film called Leaving Amy, and it is about Matt Ray. And the thing is, yeah, oh, Matt, such a wonderful guy, and his wife Judith. But the thing is that, I mean, he's a little bit of a different case. He has been physically, in his opinion, maimed. But he, from all the cross hormones that they gave him, I mean, he has tics, he has, you know, nerve damage. He slaps himself in the face, and all these things that have, you know, transpired from the overdose of testosterone that they gave him. But there was such a high testosterone level in him in utero that they believe. Oh, do you vape?
Yeah, I quit. Oh, thank you. I quit smoking cigarettes and switched to vaping. And then I quit vaping, but then I got dumped and I moved in the same week. And I was like, no, I'm starting vaping again.
15 years I haven't had a cigarette because of this.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, back to Matt. The thing is that he is, you know, these are rare cases. And he knew when he was born. In fact, the doctors were expecting a boy. He came out with female genitalia. But he always knew he was a boy. And again, when you've got levels of testosterone that are so high that even the doctors were saying, we're shocked. But the thing is that it was torture what he's been through. And so Leaving Amy is such an important film, just so that people can see what they are getting into, because they are romanticizing not only the surgeries, but they're also saying that, you know, the suicide rate is so high unless you transition. They are wrong. In fact, it doubles after transition, because kids then all of a sudden they turn around, they realize that they've made a mistake, that it was a phase like I went through. I mean, I've been bisexual all my life, but you know, I mean, these kids then are stuck with a main body. They think, who's going to love me?
Was anyone not bisexual in the 70s, by the way?
I don't think so. Well, there were a few, but I mean, you know, it was fun. It was really fun to be able to explore that, because everybody is curious. And sometimes when I see people on the far right, you know, bashing it and saying that it's a sin, this, that, and the other, I mean, I really don't believe that they haven't fantasized about it. I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to say something like that, you better be honest, because people know when you're lying. They know it. And the truth is the most powerful thing. And honesty is what we're starved for these days. Please excuse my dogs.
Oh, I love it. What kind of dog do you have?
Well, I just adopted a new one, and she is, I guess, she's a mix, some bit of a Australian Shepherd, but she kind of looks like a dingo a little bit. So but she's an Australian Shepherd mix,
What's
and
her
she
name?
is a love Bindi, which
Aw.
in Australian that in fact. The crocodile hunter, he named his daughter Bindi.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just found her after a couple of weeks that she was Bindi, and she's Babindi the dingo.
Oh,
She's a doll. She's great.
Our dog here knows how to open the door on his own, so you might see her come in at some point.
Wow. Wow.
By the way, I just wanted to mention, sorry, I think I said it before, but hello to all of our chat friends. My lovely friend Carrie says, thank you, Cherie, for being truly punk, independent, brave, and actually liberal-minded.
Oh,
It's so
thank
true.
you. Thank you so much.
My beautiful musician, artist friend Peter, they make the kids insecure, then promise them security. Yeah, the only argument that they have is emotional manipulation. It really is emotional extortion, telling them if you don't do this, if you don't maim and indoctrinate and mutilate a child, then, they're going to kill themselves. And the interesting thing is that all of these alphabet people groups in their cult, whether it's GLAAD or the Trevor Project, all of them, they all have their own literature for suicide prevention. And every single one says that you must never do that. You must never say, if you don't do X, this person will kill themselves.
Right.
So
well, I look at it as entrapment. I mean, literally, they hold these kids hostage. And what I noticed is when I started to speak out, there were a lot of transgender. Now, to me, I say transsexuals for my friends that they don't believe in this transgender movement. And I'll tell you, I had one kid that was going to kill himself. Right at the time, there was about 4 of them attacking me and calling me a transphobe and all these awful names. And I said, I need your help. I'm trying to talk a kid off a ledge. Will you help me? And they blocked me and ran. They wouldn't help. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that they didn't care.
I'm not surprised.
If you don't go along with the agenda, you're gone. And that's also something that a lot of these kids, that's why they feel so abandoned, because the very people that indoctrinated them and gave them support, once they turned around and said, I don't think this is for me. I think it was just a phase. They cut them off, they shame them and bully them. And to me, it's got to stop.
It's so ridiculous, too, to call you, of all people, a transphobe, given your entire life. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine if none of these things existed? Back when I was growing up, when you were growing up, when we were younger, these didn't exist. I mean, can you imagine if somebody tried to tell David Bowie, "Oh, you're a they them," and if there was one person in history who was a they them, he was David Bowie and he was Ziggy Stardust, and he still didn't say, "I'm a they them."
Right. Exactly.
Like,
yeah. And the pronouns.
Then.
Yeah, the pronouns. I mean, demanding their demands. And what infuriates me even more is that there's no compromise. And I've seen a lot of videos, one guy in particular, that has, talks like a man, looks like a man, but he puts on a wig and some makeup, and a waiter will walk up to him and say, "Sir, what would you like to have?" You know who I'm talking about,
yes!
Don't you?
Oh!
And then he turns around, tries to get the guy fired because he said he misgendered me. I mean, now we're talking mental illness at that, because I was always very skeptical about any kind of mental illness. I felt that was not something that I felt comfortable saying. But people like that, the narcissism, the demands, wanting us to change our lives for them, taking women's sports and owning it, and also these far left people, these university presidents, and that won't even turn around and say what a woman is. They're despicable. They are absolutely despicable to me, Mike.
We went from Me Too and then pretending to caring about women to not being able to define a woman.
Right. But I mean, me too. I mean, I felt a part of that movement because of my kidnapping and rape and all that. Uh, but the thing is that they just took it too far. They always seem to take it to a where all of a sudden, they would be yelling at men that would open the door for you, or compliment you for what you were wearing. It's like, you know what? Now you're screwing it up for all of us. Shut up. I'm
Yes.
finished with you. I'm finished with you. So I do not support the Me Too movement anymore because they, like everything, they take it too far.
I
They
think it
take it.
was I think they instituted a policy at Netflix on their productions that men cannot look women in the eye for longer than 5 seconds. So when it gets to that level, I think it really is just a way of protecting actual abusers, because there are plenty more that are currently still holding their jobs there. And so I feel like it's sort of a bait and switch almost. Oh, by the way, though, oh my God, that guy you were talking about who goes to the restaurants.
Yeah.
I saw a video of his the other day that I wish I could burn my eyes out. Oh my God. So he talks about, so first of all, he has videos of him like riding the bus and walking on the street, talking at full volume about having his balls cut off. So he had his balls cut off and does this whole video about how he's doing it with his partner. They love that word. Some poor woman. And he's like, yeah, and I hold her down and she tell her, try to get away, and she can't. And I'm like, what woman talks like this?
Well, also that he's advocating for men not to be in women's sports as well. The contradiction that of that, just that statement alone, because he knows he's stronger than women. I mean, but a video that I actually have on my page, Mike, is him talking to children, and he is telling them that they could very well be in the wrong body and how they need to treat other children. Apologize if you forgot that they are now from let's say Amy to Matt. Just be thoughtful about it. And I think I would just love to strangle you, you mofo.
Yes.
I'm done with you, or kick you in where your balls used to be, dude. I mean, enough. You leave the kids effing alone. And if they don't, somebody's going to get hurt. And that is the truth, because we've had it up to here. And,
well, it's the kids that are getting hurt right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the thing. You mentioned legitimate transsexual people, or people who, sometimes I think so many people have gotten so disgusted with all of this that they're just like, I don't want to hear about any actual transsexual people. So that sometimes people ask me what I mean by that. And I'm talking about people who legitimately experience gender dysphoria and feel that they are happier living as the opposite sex, in which case I feel like God bless. Yeah. But this is hurting them just as much as anyone.
Oh, it is. It's destroying the LBGT community. I mean, for decades, how hard everyone worked, for gay marriage. And the worst part of it as well is, Pride Month, or these parades where these men are just in bondage and naked and having sex acts right in front of kids on the street. It is, where is the respect? It's do whatever you want in the bedroom.
Where's the self-respect? Because
that's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. The self-respect. Where is your self-respect? And where is your respect for everyone else? Because you're giving everyone a bad name, and just setting the community back decades.
Yeah, it's so insane. I can't believe how more people. This is what I wanted to ask you too. So, when I have so much we have to get to, but what was I saying? Oh my God, I'm brain dead. There are a lot of people that I've known who sort of agreed with me on all these things, and then the moment that they got any sort of high-profile job, it was a bunch of Broadway actors I used to know and stuff like that. Suddenly they have the pronouns in their bio. Suddenly they have the Black Lives Matter. They have all the current things. Are there a lot of people that you've encountered in music and art that are on board, that agree with us on this stuff, but pretend not to publicly?
Oh, yes. Oh, for sure. but I also do see friends of mine that of course that have a pronoun next to their name. I mean, out of respect. But this is just long past respect, Mike. This is they're holding us all hostage, is what they're doing, and injecting themselves into our lives and making our lives complicated. And when it comes to children, all I can say is that this never would have flown in the 90s. I'll tell you that. When my son, who's 33, was a kid.
We had it so good in the 90s.
Well, I mean, had we heard about anything like this at the schools, there would have been pitchforks and torches, and there would have been blood in the streets, because it really has been a slow progression of, well, if it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have known really what was going on and how little they are teaching our children. I don't even have a 10th grade education, and I know more about history. All the things that they just don't teach. They're rewriting history.
That's why you're smart.
Well, I mean, I was a good student, but I don't even have a 10th grade education. But these people, they lack intelligence. They lack education, because they are being indoctrinated into social warriors.
I want to hit the super chat. Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. By the way, everyone, if you feel so inclined, send us your questions, send in your super chats. Eric says, hey, Cherie, I have an autistic 12-year-old nephew, which, by the way, autistic kids are really being targeted with this shit. I have an autistic 12-year-old nephew. I worry about his future. Thank you for using your influence to try and turn the ship around.
Yes. Well, Susan Olson, who is such a dear friend of mine, she's like a sister to me. She is an autistic child who is grown, but she participated in the Leaving Amy film, and you could go to leavingamy.com if you want to donate. We're putting together some very cool packages if you want to give it a weight for donors. But
I'll put the link in the chat.
Yes, it's so it was great to have her participate and be interviewed for this, because they target the most vulnerable, the most easily manipulated. And it is so insidious, Mike. It is evil. And the left, I mean, they're the ones that have propagated this. They are the ones, just like Black Lives Matter, they could turn around and bitch about the Capitol, but yet they were the ones that set the stage for it. They never mentioned that. They didn't mind that it was on our doorsteps for almost 2 years. But once it came to theirs, all of a sudden, the sky is falling. They should know better.
That's what I love too, by the way, so much, is that, woke leftism, it really is sort of, some people call them luxury beliefs. It's like almost a status symbol of the upper classes nowadays. And one of the things I love about you so much is on Twitter, you're constantly advocating on behalf of the working class, who are really the people who pay the price of these things. Because when they talk about all these things, they mean socialism for you, not socialism for them. They want to live in their mansions and their gated communities, and they have their bodyguards. But the peons don't get any of that.
Oh my God. Well, I've been a chainsaw artist now for 22 years. I mean, if it wasn't for that trust me, I mean, I got ripped off with the runaways and all that, all of my life. If it wasn't for that chainsaw, I wouldn't have my house, So the thing is I am a hard-working gal. And I actually went to the market to Ralph's, which is, like Vaughn's out here on the West Coast, the other day. And there was a fear that shot through me, Mike, because the prices were so high that I thought, my God, all I have to do is feed myself. How are these families doing this? I mean, literally, it was like, and I realized that if something doesn't change, and I mean now, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. But that is the plan, to strip people. And when I see elderly people who have come out of retirement working as greeters at Walmart, because they have to do it, because they've dipped into their savings, because Biden and his administration and this Build Back Better bullshit. I mean, it's all a fucking farce. And it is to break us. It's to break us financially so that we go on the government dole. Once you go on the government dole, you are completely controlled. And that's what they want. That is their agenda. And it would have happened under Hillary, but magically Trump appeared. And that's why they were fighting against him from day one, is because this is a worldwide phenomenon, Mike. The transgenderism.
Oh, for sure.
It's worldwide. It is the new, and I hate saying that the pandemic was unleashed on us for sure on purpose. And they wanted Trump out. And you know what? Bottom line is that we are suffering because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And it can't get any worse. And in California, Gavin Newsom, one of the biggest liars, frauds that has ever graced the office of governor.
Have you noticed a big, because you've been in California like your whole life, right?
All my life, yes.
Have you noticed a big decline? Because for me, I was born and raised, I've lived in New York City my entire life, and I recently moved to Florida because it's a different place. It's like my home has been destroyed, and it used to be the greatest. I used to love New York so much, but everything that made it distinct, CBGBs, and none of them exist anymore. It's like a zombie wasteland where everyone looks down and avoids each other. It's horrible.
Yeah, well, oh, definitely. And I mean, there isn't a city block that I could drive down that doesn't have tents or motorhomes parked where there's homeless. There isn't a city block that's clean of it. Not one that I have seen. And it's like tonight I'm going to go see my son play, and I'm taking my big ass mofo truck, man, not my other smaller car that might catch, a little attention. I'm taking my big ass big truck, because if somebody tries to carjack me, I'm running your mother ass over, because it's every night.
I would feel bad. I would feel sorry for the poor soul that tries to fuck with Cherie Currie.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, and I'm not. To me, there's not any ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I taught my son from the time he was very little that and he has to have eyes at the back of his head. He really, and he appreciates that now. He's very aware of his surroundings. But I never, in my wildest dreams, this is like, Kurt Russell in what was his movies?
Escape from New York and LA. So they got one for each of us.
That's what it is. And then you've got, like Gascon, our DA, that just let a murderer out. I mean, the guy murdered someone. He lets him out and he turns around and murders somebody else. I mean, these are these far left loony idiots. And there's street takeovers every night. There was right here, just literally one house away. They took over my corner here, and it's chaos is what it is. But this is what they want. This is when Kamala Harris is bailing out Black Lives Matter advocates or Antifa. There's something very wrong. And especially when she was on Stephen Colbert, she turned around and said, "Oh, they can't stop. They shouldn't stop." It almost looked like she was going to have an O, if you got my drift, baby.
Drift, baby.
And I saw her when she said that, and I said, "Oh, you." And that's why. And you know what I will say, when the Capitol situation happened, I was rawing. Woo! Because I wanted them to feel it, because they were immune to this. I wanted them to have a touch of fear that they had instilled, and they are the reason for all of it. And not the voters, not the Democrat voters, the Democrat political elite, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, Biden, Harris, these people that are so much better than us minions. And it's time that they learn. they learn that they work for the people. And I'm hearing now that they are going to if they're going to try to remove Trump from running, period. So it isn't about the people. This is about an agenda, and people have got to wake up and know that they've been sold a bill of goods. And all you have to do is go to the supermarket or try to pay your power bill, try to fill your car up with gas. And then you see Biden say, what a great economy, with his Ken hands. I call them Ken hands because they never move. I mean, they're Ken hands. He's because I've my family. I mean, 5 people have had dementia, and one of my in-laws had Parkinson's. I know what it is, and I was warning people before he ran in 2020. The man has the beginning stage of dementia. He is unfit, and why they would still want him and still be able to still have an approval rating, even though it is very low. He is the perfect puppet. Exactly.
By the way, parentheses, my dad says he loves you. Hi, Mike. Love your guest, Cherie. She makes a lot of sense. I love you too, Dad.
Oh, much love to you, Papa.
Let me hit up. I had told him when I first moved here, I'm trying to move my parents here eventually. But I had told him when I first moved to Florida recently, I was like, did you know, like, life doesn't have to be like this, like it is in New York? Who knew? Like, you come here and people are happy and it's clean and it's nice.
Well, you've got Ron DeSantis. I've got Gavin Newsom.
Come to Florida. We have guest rooms. Come visit.
You know what? I would love to move to Florida. And my son, Bob, I was married to Robert Hayes. He's such a wonderful man. But they lost their house in the Woolsey fire. And so Jake, Jake is thinking about moving to the UK. He would love to live in the UK. Then I'll come to Florida. but I do want to be close to him because Bob moved to Hawaii and remarried. So I'm kind of here until Jake doesn't want to be.
Is there any way, by the way, where people can follow your son's music?
He is Maudlin Strangers is his band. His name is Jake Hayes, Hays. And Maudlin Strangers, I mean, they're great. And in fact, I'm playing the Whiskey A Go-Go November 1st. It will be my birthday celebration, my twin, Marie, and my birthday stuff, because I'm going to be in the UK for my birthday. And I got John Ford Coley from England and John Ford Coley flying in. We're doing it's going to be a night of nostalgia. The Runaway songs, we could be teenagers for a night. And it's going to just be an amazing evening. And my son's band is backing me. He's opening, but they're backing me. And I have so many great guests coming. Nick Mayberry getting up. It's going to be such an amazing night.
Oh, my God. I wish I could be there. I got to tell one of my best friends, Kieran, lives in the UK. I got to tell him, please go for me so I can live vicariously.
Oh, please reach out to me, because if he wants to come to a show, I'll put him on the guest list.
He's actually a music photographer too and a photojournalist. I'll tell him.
Hey, family. He's welcome. He's welcome, Mike.
Let me hit up the super chats. Sarah said, hey, wanted to say, hey, love you, Cherie, and you, Mike. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Hope asked, thank you, my love, Hope. Hey, Cherie, how do we get rid of wokeness in the rock music industry? It's been so disappointing. You really are one of the, I mean, you can count on one hand and still have fingers left the number of people who are actively speaking against this. So many people, it used to be Rage Against the Machine. Now they're basically have taken on the mantra, Rage on behalf of the machine.
Very true. Well, for me, it's a calling, and it isn't just a stance. Just like the chainsaw, just like wanting to be in a rock band. It's something that chose me. I didn't choose it. And so I'm willing to give up everything to stand up against these people hurting kids, because it is costing, and they're really trying to knock me down, but it ain't gonna happen. You got
chainsaws and trucks. Like, what do they think? They're going to intimidate you?
Oh, especially, I turn around and they, sometimes they threaten me, and I say, I could write your name in cursive on your chest with my chainsaw before you could say, ouch. I'm
Cherie,
that fast.
let me just tell you, if I went that way, you would need a restraining order for me because you are just the hottest chick in the world.
Oh, Mike, I love you. I
I
love
love
you.
you. This is somebody just said, sorry, I'm fangirling. I'm fangirling too. This is amazing. But yeah, it's I love the other day you clapped back at friggin' dum Barbara Streisand, who it's like these people live in such a bubble. They are so insulated from the reality of the policies that they vote for. And I loved how you're just reminding her, this is not, you haven't seen the inside of a grocery store in 50 years, probably. This is not reality for working average Americans.
Very true. I mean, I think she would have understood if this would have happened, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s, where people couldn't afford to buy her records. Then she would know, because that's where we're at right now. And, you know, it's so funny to watch, you know, the Biden administration saying how great that it's okay that people are diving into their savings. And it's like, you know, what planet are you guys on? Barbara would not have sold all those records. If you've got to choose between feeding your child or a Barbara Streisand record, she would have not been in the position that she is. I mean, she's very lucky. But the thing is that she is completely out of touch, as well as Rob Reiner. And I go after Rob too. And I worked with him on Spinal Tap. I love Rob. I've been to his house for dinner. This was decades ago when I was working on the film. But to see him really with this Trump derangement syndrome and you know, not having any sense of compassion for those that buy tickets to see his films. You know, I mean, to me, they're so disconnected from reality while we're living in this hell and afraid of every bill that comes in the mail. And that's no way to live. And everybody, though, they will turn around and say their lives were better under Trump. And bottom line is that is what is going to make the majority of people vote, whether they do it without, you know, sneak that vote in. Nobody wants to suffer like this. Nobody wants to see homeless people just overflowing and ODing on the streets from the fentanyl that's coming in, the deadly fentanyl from China through the south border. Nobody wants to see their town become a border town under this administration. And all they have to run on is abortion. And, you know, if that is all you got, you're going to lose. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing that because they don't care.
It's so funny too. I had recently I went to interview these morons at the Pride Parade here, and this one guy was just a lunatic, and he was saying like 10 different things that I was trying to keep track of. But he said to me, this is a line that they love to throw out, that they'll say, "What sources are you reading?" Like, and it was right after I had mentioned that I had to move away from my home, my hometown where I lived my whole life, because things had gotten that bad. What sources are you? What sources? Life. I lived it. Like, so
you got eyes. Yeah, you got eyes.
They're trying to convince us we don't. They're trying to convince us that we're not to believe our lying eyes, not to believe our own life experience, our own bank accounts, our own dangers when you walk to the corner.
Exactly. You are so right, Mike. And because somebody actually, when I posted on Streisand's thing, he said, "Source, I want your source." And I said, "How about everybody everywhere?" How's that?
Yeah, except Barbara Streisand and Rob Reiner.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Bottom line is that they can say anything they want to say. It's not going to matter in the end. You know, we're going to come out of this with a very foul taste in our mouths, and they are going to see, really, with this whole Trump derangement, which, and by the way, what the left do is they peddle this fear. I mean, there's healthy fear, like when I go out to chainsaw carve. I mean, now there's a little bit of healthy fear there because I could get hurt, but they peddle the unhealthy fear, the lies. and they're lying to their base and telling them that their lives will be, that they'll be thrown in jail for just being a Democrat. All this ridiculous bullshit. And you know what? When their base finds out that they lied, like they've been lying all these years about Biden's mental health, you don't bounce back from that. I think they're going to have to dismantle the Democrat Party. I would be fine with them dismantling the Republican Party.
Same.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What has kind of been your political journey? Have you always felt this way about these things? I mean, I know some of them are sort of newer issues, but for me, I was a lifelong liberal Democrat. Were you always kind of aware of everything, or did you used to be on board with their causes?
No, I didn't even know the difference between Republican and Democrat until I voted for Obama. I mean, I did vote for Bill Clinton, and I also really, really liked his VP who ran for president, Mr. Climate Change, Al Gore. And I was very sad that he didn't win. I was not a fan of Bush. I mean,
Same.
not. I couldn't believe he won a second term.
I know.
I thought, well, he was an embarrassment to me, anyway, personally.
I'm with you.
And I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I literally cried when he was inaugurated. I thought, finally, finally, this racism thing that they just keep, just pushing out, is over now. Little did I know that Barack Obama was going to be the main peddler of that and just absolutely put America last when he wouldn't put his hand over his heart. Of course, my father fought on the front lines in World War II against the Japanese, highly decorated Marine, drank himself to death. He died right after my 21st birthday. Wonderful man. So I've got his blood in me. I was a big Ronald Reagan fan. And of course, the left always attacks me when I talk about Reagan, about him closing the mental health facilities. But you see, I was a counselor then, so I was right embroiled in the overcrowding and the fact that they were taking kids, and I worked with young kids in a lockdown situation at Coldwater Canyon Hospital, and I would go to my meetings at 7 a.m. in the morning. And they just said, okay, well, Johnny their parents just found with a joint. We're going to keep him for 3 months. And I said, excuse me? Yeah, we're going to keep him for 3 months, Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. And that's when I really realized it was about the money. And then I would go see some of my kids at All of You, which is now gone. And they would literally be falling out of the doors and the windows. It was so packed. So when Reagan came in and decided it was so corrupt that he was going to lock it all down, I was behind it 1,000%, but anyway,
I think it might be time to reconsider that, the way you have these nut jobs. I mean, I'm not really informed on that issue, but I feel like maybe there's another way between corruption and just letting crazy people out everywhere.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with you. And of course, this transgender movement is also, it's about the money, because once kids go on these cross-sex hormones or puberty blockers or have surgeries, they are for life. Big pharma's got them by the throat. And people are evil, Mike. They're evil. And all they want is the money. All they care about is they don't care about these kids. They don't care about the lasting effects of these awful life-altering drugs. And when you go after kids and you don't even let them have a childhood and you fuck them up, that's evil.
I really never thought I would see the day. First of all, I never thought I would see the day that the policies, because I think things got so much more apparent with the scamdemic in 2020. And I never thought that I would see the day that the government puts people under house arrest and shuts down businesses and segregates people. These people were shrieking for a year Black Lives Matter, and then supported segregation for people who wouldn't inject themselves with experimental poison. And, you know, in New York, when they started the vaccine mandates, it was something like 75% of Black people in the city were unvaccinated. So you just supported segregating them, firing them from their jobs, not allowing them at lunch counters. So these people are the biggest hypocrites in the world. But my point is, I can't get over the fact that you have the government closing businesses and the authoritarianism like we never thought we would see in our lifetimes. And that so many artists and musicians were not only not speaking out against it, but were on board with it every step of the way.
Yeah, you know, that's something that's a mystery to me. But yet, you know, I understand their need to eat. I understand because I live in Hollyweird area. I know that, you know, you couldn't you know, there was a group called Friends of Abe. I mean, it was very much underground, big actors involved in this. And it was an honor to be able to go to these events, because you couldn't say you were conservative in Hollywood because it could be blackballed. They would just pass you over for someone that was a Democrat. And again, because you don't want people to speak up when every commercial is, I'm sorry, but you know, every commercial you see guys exchanging tongues, or even like, I'm sorry, who I mean, heterosexuals don't want their kids to see that. We don't want to see men and women in prime time on commercials when our kids are sitting there French kissing. I mean, it's like,
it's so funny, by the way. Somebody left me some nasty comment on one of my videos the other day about like, we want queer representation in media. I'm like, bitch, gay people are what, like 2% or 3% of the population? We are vastly overrepresented in media.
Yes.
It's every freaking channel. What number would be acceptable to you? 100%?
Well, you know what, Mike? This is the way I look at it. My favorite food is sashimi, is sushi. It's Japanese food. It's my favorite food. You force feed that to me 3 times a day for a month, and I will never be able to eat it again. And a part of me thinks that why they are oversaturating everyone is to cause vitriol and cause us to clash, because they are always happier when we are at each other's throats, because, you know, in the end, it's all about control. You know, they let Black Lives Matter burn our towns and cities to the ground, kill our police officers and our citizens. And then they bitch about the 7th. I just keep thinking, you know, you deserved it. You should have been a little more, you know, observant.
Well, and
that there's only so much people can take before they fight the fuck back. Right?
For sure. And it's insane. You know, we had daily riots for 6 months, riots that affected the working class, where people had their small businesses first shut down by the government and then burned down by BLM. And we were told that this is a wonderful thing. And that was when it affected the working class. And we were told, no problem, they're solving racism. But then once the most powerful people in the world were mildly inconvenienced for an afternoon, that was the end of the world. That was the end of our democracy. It was the worst day, it's 10 9/11s. It's insane. And I mean, it really says everything in how it affects the working people of America versus the elite liberal class. I just sent Brandon the other day, I was like, you got to include this in your new video. I'll never forget this image from the BLM riots in 2020 of this small business. And there's a note on the store. She had notes everywhere that said, I'm a single mother. Please show mercy. This is all I have.
Yeah.
And the people doing it to her, we're told, are the good guys.
No, they're not the good guys. But again, when you give them free reign, and that's what the left did. They supported it. They supported the chaos. They funded it. And it's funny because I was going down the street down Ventura Boulevard, which in the San Fernando Valley is like the main thoroughfare. Even Tom Petty has it in his song there. And I all of a sudden saw these trash can sized mesh with rocks in them, strategically placed on all the blocks. Now, we had riots on Ventura where all of the glass had been broken, and I mean, just, it was all boarded up. I mean, they destroyed so many businesses. But this is Soros backed. This is George Soros. He is the doctor of chaos, and his son is worse.
Well, now he's shacking up with Hillary's best friend.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
I thought I heard he was gay, but apparently he's getting married to Anthony Weiner's ex-wife, who's Hillary Clinton's right hand.
God. Yeah, it's so close, isn't it? I mean, it's too close for coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, she's Hillary Clinton's right hand. Her husband, Anthony Weiner, his right hand was a little busy, so she had to be Hillary Clinton's.
Yeah, well, I do believe, Mike, that Congress and the Senate, these people, they believe that they are so much better than us. That has to end because, of course, term limits, they were supposed to only serve for a number of years and then go back and have to live in what they created. They voted that out. So now we've got these lifers like Biden that just was a terrible senator. What did he do? Nothing, but he's a racist, of course. Biden has always been a lifetime racist. Mm-hmm. He was against busing kids because he didn't want his kids in school around black kids. He was very vocal.
Grew up in a racial jungle. That's what he said. I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle.
Exactly.
But it doesn't matter. He's a Democrat. It doesn't count.
Right. Well, the thing is they don't have to go out. None of them seem to have to go out and live in what they've created. And that has to change. And they are not better than us. In fact, we pay their paycheck. And I think that they've taken it to a point, especially lying about Biden all these years. And like, Kamala, she should be disqualified from running for president simply because she lied. And she lied about everything and misleading the people that we're supposed to trust her now. I mean, where is there any integrity anymore left in politics? There isn't. The worst part is that we, the people, are suffering, and something has to change, and it's going to have to change in a big way.
I think you made such a great point, though, before what you said about if you were force-fed sushi 3 times a day. It is so true. They are shoving this down our throat. For me, when I came out, all I wanted was for my sexual orientation to be as much of a non-factor as the color of my eyes. Yeah. And now it's too damn much. It's like, I'm sick of hearing it. I am so sick of gay people. I can't, I'm like, if I am sick of this shit, I cannot imagine how the average person feels. It's too damn much.
It's so unfair. It's so fucking unfair because it was we had, and I say we because I was involved and I lost a lot of friends, when gay marriage, and I fought, I'm telling you, to lose all of that, where it was like everyone could just breathe. It was such a beautiful time. And then to have all of it explode in everyone's faces with this ridiculousness and these corporations pushing, this nonsense. But I love you, Mike.
I love you, Cherie. You're amazing. This is like the best moment of my life, by the way. Just so you know.
I'm gonna hug you, and I want to squeeze you.
Oh my god. I just wanted to hit up Jeremy's super chat. Thank you so much, dude. It's always about the money for them. Always has been. Speaking of which, have some. Thank you, Jeremy. Send us your super chats, y'all, if y'all feel so inclined. I was gonna say, let me preface this by saying, Literally my only goal in life is to fall in love and get married and live off the grid. That is, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be anything. I just want to fall in love, get married, and live on an island. At this point, it has gone so over the top that I'm like, I take marriage rights away. I don't care at this point. If it would make all of this shit go away and stop kids being inducted, like, take it. I don't care at this point.
No, they're not going to take it. They're not going to take it. I mean,
no, I agree.
I wouldn't let that happen. I mean, you know, I would be on the Capitol steps with a bullhorn, peacefully protesting. But that's not going to happen. But that is something that they are pushing now, saying that they're going to take marriage away in the courts. I mean, the fact that these people that are in Congress and their Senate, or, you know, these leftists turning around and our Supreme Court, you know, for them to be saying that the highest court in the land needs to be dismantled. These people have to go because their ideology is all that matters. It's their ideology. It doesn't matter the way you feel, Mike, or the way I feel, or the rest of the American people. They are so extreme that they're a cancer, is what they are. They are a cancer, and they have been allowed to grow. But now it's time to cut that cancer out.
Hell yeah,
and allow us to live our lives peacefully and with some prosperity. And we're going to get there, Mike. And you and I'll have a virgin Mai Tai with you when you marry and go to your little, you know, off the grid. I wanted to go off the grid. In fact, I mean, I have a friend that built. Oh yes, I was going to sell this house just a matter of months ago, and but the thing is that right now is not a good time to do that. I would have made a ridiculous amount of money for this home, but then of course, you know, everything is so expensive. It's just the wrong timing. And I love this house. I've lived in it 27 years, and I'm very happy to be here. And but I'm with you, baby. I am with you.
I think I just got a marriage proposal. Thank you. I do. I do. Let's do it. Like, let's find an island. I'm down.
I love it. I love it.
I'm just so happy right now. You're amazing. And the thing is, people sometimes say to me, what do you think the average person can do to stand up to this? And I'm like, one thing, just one little thing. Speak up about it, because it really is the cowardice of the majority that gives them all their power. Because I truly believe that most people agree with us and most people are on our side. We may all disagree about different candidates or Trump or whatever, but I think when you get down to the individual issues and the individual principles, I really do feel like most people are on our side. But so many people pretend to just go along with it because it's in their own interest and they want the social brownie points, and they pretend to be on board with it every step of the way. And more people just need to start speaking up. I mean, if you can take the risks that you have and show the bravery that you have, there's no reason that people who aren't risking nearly as much can't.
Oh, sure. I mean, absolutely. And again, you know, I think people are really going to suffer morally, spiritually, if they don't. Because, you know, we're all born with a purpose, all of us. And to allow fear to shut you up will be something that will scar you for the rest of your life. I know I come across very crass on X with some people, only because I have been taught that is, I shove it back as hard as they shove it at me. I did try to be kind. I really did. But the thing is, you have to fight fire with fire now. And they do, when you have knowledge and when you have the truth behind you and facts, they can't fight that. They usually block me because they can't debate, because that's all I want to do. Okay, well, let's talk about it then. You know, it's not that I just have this one opinion. You know, I want to talk to people. I want them to feel free to talk to me. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to get people to follow their path, because we all have one. You know, this whole idea that, you know, this groupthink thing, all it does is weaken you as a human being, as an individual. You don't find solace, acceptance. You can, it's for a very short period of time, but then all of a sudden you need more. You need to know who you are. I haven't even dated in 14 years because I felt I didn't know who I was. Whenever I was in a relationship, I always felt that they wanted to change me, and I always gave too much. So I forced myself. I didn't feel that I was I didn't know who I was. So I decided I wasn't going to date. So 14 years later, I like myself so much. And I know that me talking to you, this is the real me. 14 years ago, we wouldn't have been having this conversation. And that's all from wanting to fit in, wanting to, give to other people or make them feel good about themselves, blah, blah, fucking blah. But the bottom line is it's so important that you find out who you are in this life, because life is hard and you have a purpose. You have a path. No one can walk that path with you. It's another thing. You have to understand that it's your path. You can reach out and touch. I can touch your fingertips on your path. We can walk side by side, but we can never walk on each other's path. And everybody is important. Everyone is so important individually. So
I think you just shocked everyone though, because everyone is like, how the hell are you single? So are you like ready to date now? Because we got to find you someone.
No. I've got things to do, and I have friends that I love, but I also really love being alone because I can reflect. And I know that if I wasn't alone, I wouldn't be fighting the way I am for these kids, or for gay rights, or against this administration. I wouldn't be. So that is that, it's been chosen for me, this path. I'm happy to be on it.
If I can ask you, would you ever consider running for office?
I think that I don't know if I would qualify, simply because I don't have a high school education. I really don't have much besides being, a drug addict back in the 70s. I really don't have anything they could pin on me, but I just don't know if I could qualify for that. I don't know.
I don't think there's a requirement for that. I mean, you would be badass.
Well, thank you.
You have a PhD from the School of Common Sense and Hard Knocks.
That's true, Mike. And so have you. A lot of people have, have gone through things in life that make them who they are. It's not something to be ashamed of or to turn away from. You need to embrace everything that's happened to you in your life and realize that it was a lesson learned, and never be ashamed. Be proud, that whatever powers that be, and I do believe in a power greater than myself. And before I pick up that chainsaw, I always do, get on a knee and I ask God to carve with me, because that would be a very scary thing to feel like I was doing that alone. But you don't have to be religious to feel that pull inside of you that is guiding you in a direction or a thought process that you didn't expect. It's and that inner voice that talks, that one that told me to go back to that chainsaw art gallery I'd passed on the back of a motorcycle. I didn't think in a million years I was going to become, never. And then I walked in that gallery and that voice said, you can do this. And I was as shocked as anyone would be. Me? But the thing is that voice never steers you wrong. Trust it.
How long have you been doing it now?
22 years.
Wow.
Almost 23, yeah. 2002, I started early 2002. So almost 23 years, yeah.
Someone, where is it? Here. Yeah, all you need to be is 35 and a citizen. And I think for Congress or whatever, it's less than that. So I'm just saying, I'm trying to plant the seed in your head. I think if anyone should run for something, it's you.
Well, we'll see. we'll see. I mean, it always presents itself. That's the fascinating thing about this life is, it presents itself. I've never had to chase anything. It's always come to me one way or another. So, hey, I would love it because I'd love to kick some mofo ass. And I'm trying to be nice. I'm really trying to be nice with the language.
No, fucking bring it. I got the mouth of a fucking sailor.
Me too. But anyway, we'll just see. If something presents itself, then I'll know, and I'll know. Right now, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm talking to you, and it's a wonderful experience, Mike. Thank you.
You're a wonderful. Thank you. I just want to hit up Tracy's super chat. Thank you, my beloved Tracy. This is my Gen X fantasy. I love that. And then she said, if AOC is qualified, both of you should run. See, I would never want to do it, but the only reason that I would be tempted is, like, I would hope, I don't think I'm getting enough to have a sex scandal, but, like, I kind of want a sex scandal. If I were to run, I'm hoping. Every year, I'm like, this is the year of my sex scandal. Come on. But I have a line that I would want to say if I ran for office and my sex scandal happened. I would just love to stand there in the debate and say, they want you to focus on who I'm sleeping with so that you won't realize it's you who's getting fucked.
I love it.
Like, I have no desire to hold any office, but, like, I just want to be able to say that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. How cool is that? How groovy.
Cherie,
we'll see.
Cherie just told me I'm like the least cool person in the world, but Cherie just told me I'm cool. So, like, I can die happy now.
Stop it. Oh my God, you're so awesome, Mike. You're
so awesome. Oh my God, you are so awesome.
Well, we're friends for life now, darling. That's that's it.
When are you going to come visit Florida? Well, you're going on tour. How long is your tour?
I'm doing Europe and the UK this year. Hopefully next year. We'll see. Again, I mean, this other stuff is really what is driving me. It's the touring and performing is secondary to me. In my heart, it is. So, but I love Florida. We'll see, darling. We will see.
We have guest rooms and a pool.
Oh, you're so sweet. I've got guest rooms and a pool. So if you come out to shitty Los Angeles and you don't mind stepping up, no, I'm only kidding. You don't have to step over feces, but you're very welcome. You're very welcome at my humble abode.
Aw. Brian, thank you so much for the super chat. My beloved Front Porch Conservative, a great collab. Cherie, aside from your son's music, whose song's music are you listening to these days that you think is really good rock and roll? Is there anyone?
Actually, I am truly a classic rock gal. Because the world right now, to me, I love listening to the old tunes when I was a kid and a young adult, that when life was happier, we have to counterbalance the negative. So I am a classic rock gal, and so I don't listen to any music that's out there right now. No,
I don't think I can't think. I mean, there are really no bands anymore. Even it's just all AI manufactured. Oh God, did you hear? They just came out with Katy Perry has her new feminism song about. I can't stand. It's whenever these people use the word strong woman, it's the least strong women in the world. These liberals that talk about, like, you are a strong woman, but when they talk about this, they're just talking about, like, vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
10 years too late.
Yeah, I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch the Oscars. I do vote for SAG-AFTRA, only because I've been a member since I was 16 years old. Wow. But, I mean, to be honest, let them have their hooplas. To me, I wish that they were more involved in what is really going on around them, instead of them elevating themselves either mentally or whatever it is, or the people that surround them, allowing them to get so out of touch with the people that actually made them the stars that they are. And I think that they owe it to those people, and I'm one of them, to pull their heads out of the clouds. You know what I wanted to say. And
Say it all. Say it
yeah,
all.
I didn't have to. But, you know, if it means they have to be humble, that's the sad thing. They have to humble themselves. Fuck you. Just go outside and walk the streets like the rest of us have to. Go into a supermarket and see what we're dealing with. The only problem is that they don't know how good it was 4 years ago. They don't realize how easy it was, you know, to go to the supermarket and our power bills, what our power bills were, our gasoline bills. And in California, I mean, it's so outrageous. I mean, and Newsom just raised our gas tax again.
Are you kidding me?
No, I mean, you know, I mean, it's 60 cents a gallon now, just for California. But it would have meant so much, even though it was only like a 2-cent increase. We're talking about since Jerry Brown was governor, when he ushered that in. And I warned people, I said, you didn't read the fine print, did you? I mean, they can raise it at will, and they don't have to use it for streets and bridges, which is what they were selling it as. You're basically giving Newsom an open checkbook. But he raised it anyway, knowing how much, even a couple pennies more a gallon. It's so outrageous. I mean, it's over $5 here. And, you know, people have to go to work every day. He wants people to suffer where they have to take the trains. But yet, you know, they take the trains or the buses and you get stabbed or shot. And they don't want cops. They want social workers.
Oh,
I'd like to see how are the social workers going to stop a madman from stabbing somebody?
Until
I'd really like
they
to know.
are the victims of a crime.
Exactly.
Once they are personally affected, they don't like this so much anymore.
Yes, exactly.
What I wanted to say is what we're saying about music, sort of everything that's happening now. I mean, it is all just based in conformity. And it kind of got me thinking. I grew up in the 2000s with the big thing then was pop punk. And don't get me wrong, I will still jam out to all the, you know, Blink-182 and all that. However, it kind of got me thinking that those are the same people, those pop punk bands are on board with every one of the current things, the trans agenda, the COVID agenda, all of it. And it kind of got me thinking, what was pop punk? It was sort of this corporate illusion of rebelliousness without actually having to do anything rebellious. And I think it's no coincidence that the people who grew up with pop punk are now the ones pushing the establishment, the corporation, the government, the media.
Yeah. Right. Well, you know, I think when their ticket sales go down, not mainly because people are turning their backs on them, but they can't afford their very expensive tickets, that's when they, you know, I found with the left, they're oblivious until it affects them. And once it affects them, then they start asking questions. So, you know, this economy and this high inflation is going to affect everyone, no matter what. If you're in a band and you're a touring band and you have to bring people in, they just don't have the money, really. The people that want to go.
By the way, two things. First of all, thank you so much, Jeremy. Have to go to work. Love you, Mikey. Love you, Jeremy. Come visit Florida soon. Hope you have a great night at work. I want to mention to you because I saw a couple people mentioned it in the chat. You were so spectacular in the movie Foxes, and so many people have brought that up. I don't know if you realize how much of a cult following it's gotten.
Oh, thank you. That was so much fun. Yeah, thank you. I was so disappointed because, of course, Adrian Lyne, that was his very first film. And then he went on to do Fatal Attraction, Jacob's Ladder, all of these big films. And I was thinking, you know, I wish we could have hit that mark. But you know what? It's a fun film. And it was Jody and I stayed very dear friends up until the time Hinckley shot the president.
Wow.
Shot Reagan. And then she, you know, had to go underground and I lost touch with her then. But thank you so much. That means so much to me. It really does.
I've had so many people saying that. Have you ever considered going back into acting, or are you focused more on music and producing now?
You know what? it's such a dog eat dog world in the acting business. I mean, I would go in and all of these girls would be sitting there with the scripts, and I'd say, "Gosh, you look so nice." You know, God, I hope you get the part. And they'd look at me like, "Who are you?" And yeah, I mean, it was vicious. It was vicious, and it just didn't. I didn't like the people. You know, I didn't like the people that. It didn't bring me joy anymore. So, but you know what? I've done a few acting roles here and there. If somebody ends up, reaching out and wanting me to do something, absolutely I will. Absolutely.
Okay, now I need to just like write something to have you be in it. I'm gonna write a movie just to have you be in it.
Oh well, I mean, if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Yeah. I still think you should. I mean, I'm just saying, Cherie for president 2028.
Oh, I love you. Oh, and by the way, my shirt, Gays Against Groomers, Jamie sent this to me. Yes! Isn't it cool?
Oh, that's my favorite. I gotta get that shirt. They're amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love them. Oh my God. Thank God for Jamie. And 2 years now.
She's getting married in a couple days.
She is. Yeah, Sasha. They're getting married, and I'll be in Europe. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch. They're live streaming it, but I'm such a huge fan of her. Saw her on Tucker Carlson years ago, and what a great gal. Yeah. I just adore her. Like I adore you and Brandon. I mean, Brandon, I have to say, I mean, still to this day, I get chills when I saw his walk away video. I've never seen anything that powerful. He started it. He started it all. And he did it with such conviction and brilliance that I had to sit back. I went, what the fuck did I just see? And let me just say, who is this guy?
Let me just say, by the way, I've been helping him with his follow-up video to that's coming soon. It's even better.
Yay. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
This is a good question, because I'll fly where I need to if this happens. Any US tour dates?
Not this year. It's something I might focus on next year. I'm just going to try to get through this year, and hopefully what we're just going to see, because of course with this transgender movement in the UK that's wreaking havoc. I mean, I turned around and I thought, well, I'm going to get through that tour and just see if people start standing up for themselves and not let these people cancel shows.
We forget in the UK, because like I'd mentioned, my friend Kieran, who lives there, it's like a communist hellscape at this point, that you can literally be arrested for stating opinions, stating facts if they don't like them.
Yeah, that's the agenda. I mean, they'd like to do that here. They really would. I mean, all you have to do is look at Australia. Australia is really ground zero. It was ground zero for COVID, just to see how they could force every single citizen to get a shot. And
not for me.
And they took their guns. That's one thing that I know for a fact. If I hear gun control one more goddamn time, the Second Amendment is so important. That's the only reason why we are not Australia right now, or any other country, Britain. We have guns, and that makes a difference.
See, I used to be one of these morons who, I mean, I'm still one of these morons in other ways, but in this way, I used to be one of these morons who was like, oh, guns are bad, gun control. I was clueless as to why we have it and stuff. And, you hear them talk about, oh, common sense restrictions. That's always how it starts. And I used to think, oh, that makes sense. We should do that. But let me tell you, remember with the scamdemic, we were told 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And look what happened. Every single gun restriction is 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And you give them an inch, they will take a mile. So I feel like after what happened in 2020 and 2021, 2020, like we should not budge an inch.
Yeah, I mean, with the bump stocks, somebody brought that up on X that Trump banned the bump stocks. Look, you got to compromise in everything. To me, I was fine with that. the bottom line is that, taking AKs or whatever, the Second Amendment was to fight against the government, a tyrannical government. It wasn't really for home protection. And people get so complacent with this government of ours. And all you have to do is see just when Gavin Newsom had a guy arrested who was, he was, what do they call it? Sailing on a surfboard. Paris, what is it called?
Something like
and
that.
All by himself, because he'd closed the beaches, all by himself out there, and he had the cops arrest him and give him $1,000 fine. You tell me what that meant. That meant I told you you couldn't, and you did it anyway, and now you're going to go to jail. All of the liquor stores were open. My son was having pot delivered here because he and his girlfriend during lockdown lived here. And, but you couldn't go to a gym. You couldn't go to church. You couldn't go out and hike in the wilderness.
It was all about, oh, sorry.
No, you're right. You could do all the evil things.
Yeah.
Anything that was going to harm you
stayed open. It was all about consolidating power and redistributing wealth. And I'll never get over how many people fell for it. And look, I have a lot of issues with Trump in what he allowed to happen with that. For me personally, I don't feel like it's productive to really, get all into that at this moment when there's an election to win. But I pray to God that if he wins the election, his voters push hard for smart decisions to be made. Someday, and I hope that he'll win the election and that it happens now, but someday there has to be accountability for, this was the scam of our lifetimes, and I'll never understand how people are so okay with it. And it seems like accountability is never going to come.
Oh yeah. When you're lying about ivermectin that's been around for it's a staple in other countries. It's for malaria. It saves lives, and it is not a horse dewormer. But the fact that they would push that and have all these late night talk hosts saying, look, if you're not going to get a shot, you don't deserve to live. If you go into the hospital, but you're taking the horse goo, or someone else has had the vaccine, well, die in peace, wheezy. It's just, are you guys out of your effing minds?
But they're the good people. They're the good people. And we're the evil Nazis and fascists. They're the good people.
But it turned out that they were wrong. And again, with Trump, with Fauci, who I'm sure that he didn't realize that Fauci was really behind the AIDS epidemic as well. And he's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. And you have people around you that know better than you. You're going to have to trust some people. You have to. If you didn't trust anyone, then I could see, a dictator, type of a person. But Trump was very open. But again, nobody had ever dealt with that kind of a situation unleashed on us. So I still think that he doesn't get a fair shake. We're all human. We all make mistakes, no doubt about it. But this administration, this Biden farce of an administration has broken the United States, and we are a laughingstock around the world. It is embarrassing. And I know that these two wars never would have happened if Biden was not in office. There's just no way. And bottom line is that we as the people of the United States of America have to, you're right, hold people accountable and hold them to a standard that is noble and honorable in the highest office in the land. We must.
Yeah. I want to ask, by the way, has all of your common sense and wisdom rubbed off on your son?
My son is a lefty, so he doesn't like talking about any of it. And when he was living here, and I would get so pissed off at Newsom because I could tell he was lying, and that he was talk about a dictator, a totalitarian dictator. That's Newsom. And and it made him very nervous. He didn't want to talk about it. And so the thing is eventually we all come around and start trusting our own instincts. You know, at this point, I think we've gone so far off a cliff that people literally don't have a choice but to see that they've been lied to. We've all been lied to. I knew it because I have, you know, dementia and Alzheimer's and so on and so forth, Parkinson's in my family history. So I knew it, but a lot of people just believed. They wanted to believe, even though he was hidden away. And so now the cat is out of the bag. Let's see what happens.
I find it interesting. I can't quite figure out what the scam is because there's always a scam. I've felt really strongly that they're not going to replace him because I think they've just found their perfect puppet, and whoever it is, the powers that be that have their hand up his ass going like this, they ain't going to give that power up. But on the other hand, I'm like, why are they letting us see this so overtly?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, again, you know, this is Agenda 21 is what it is, Mike. And this was ushered in by first spoken by Bush Sr. Did I already say this?
No.
Okay, by Bush Sr. Of course, he was a one-term president. He passed the baton to Bill Clinton. Talk about the Clintons. By executive order, Clinton laid the foundation for Agenda 21. It is a one world government. That is why the whole world was involved in this pandemic. And it is a one world government with no borders, no freedom. We wouldn't be able to own private property, no gasoline cars. Everybody has to try. You're allowed to go out of a 15-minute zone. I have the book from the Geneva Convention. I have it. And this is all the world leaders are behind this. We mean nothing to them, these power-hungry elites. We mean nothing. And then the 15-minute cities that even Newsom started talking about. But then he pulled back because I think he, as arrogant and awful as he is, he also knew that we're really on the cusp of a revolution, because we can sense that the walls are closing in a little bit, and because nothing makes sense what they say. But these 15-minute cities where you're allowed to go outside of so within the 15 minutes, you have to be able to go to the post office, go to the market, work. Otherwise, you take trains. My home, anyone that owns a home, you wouldn't be owning a home anymore. That was, remember when that
you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Exactly. When I saw that, I literally fell over. I said, my God, there it is. Because I've been waiting for this since 2008. I actually thought Obama was the guy that was going to manage to bring this to fruition. But I also know that his ego wouldn't have allowed that, because being the first Black president, he wasn't going to be the guy that was going to just take all the freedoms away from the Americans. He just wasn't going to do it. But Hillary Clinton, she couldn't wait to do it. And she was a shoo-in to do it. As you can see, I mean, you know, the way she handled being Secretary of State, she's a morbid creature.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't care about the mistakes that were made, or and the lives that were lost.
I love those moments when
in Benghazi.
I love those moments when she was
yeah.
Secretary of State too, where she said the quiet part out loud, like when she said, what difference does it make how they died?
And that was
we came,
exactly.
We saw, he's dead. Like, there are certain moments when she slips and says the quiet part out loud.
Well, with Benghazi, I mean, she was responsible for those deaths. I mean, she had heard from the ambassador that he was in trouble. She did nothing. Because she doesn't care. I mean, anyone that thinks that these elites, especially Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, even Barack Obama, I hate to say, I know so many people aren't going to agree. It is my personal opinion, but they do not care. They feel
Oh,
they
we
are
all
above.
agree with you.
Yeah, they're above all of us, and this utopia, this one world government, no borders, and everybody, all the minions get to mingle in our little 15-minute cities, and there won't be any more combustion engines. All of their bullshit that I mean, they never think it all the way through either. They never think of really, I mean, even though smart people were behind it, they don't think about the end result and how a lot of people are going to lose their lives, under this.
Yeah,
The fact that they,
oh, I'm sorry.
no, I mean, the fact that they let lamp oil and not lamp oil, but oil, to heat homes in the East, to allow that to get so, not only was it unavailable for long periods of time, but elderly people died behind this kind of thing. I mean, they do not care. And once people realize that they do not care about us, that we're really just collateral damage, we are standing between them and utopia, Agenda 21, now Agenda 30. And that's because they want it all in place by 2030, period. So,
and that's why, this is why they're creating this hysteria of, Project 2025. That's their, I mean, God, I've lived through Russian collusion and kids in cages and all of the hysterias, and now Project 2025 is the one we have to worry about. But this is what you're saying is exactly why, because the left always accuses you of exactly what they are doing.
There you go. Bingo, baby. That is the truth. You hit it. You hit it on the head. They accuse us of exactly what they're doing. And then, I mean, I mean, my God, they have no decency. They don't care that we notice this. They think we're stupid is what they think. They think we absolutely are stupid minions and little worker bees, and that we're there for their pleasure. Well, they're going to have a very rude awakening, because I was talking to Colonel Anthony Schaefer, who I do podcasts with. And I literally got a photograph of all of these leaders that are behind this, with Klaus Schwab and Gates and all that. And I turned and I told them, I said, you could fit these leaders, the people behind this, in the bottom floor of the Whiskey A Go-Go. And they think they're safe. They think they're safe. They aren't safe. And we, the people, are going to take them to task. And that will probably be the only way it will end, unfortunately.
By the way, sorry, parentheses, I just realized I missed Tracy's super chat. This is a little bit side note, which, by the way, I'm sure you have other things to do. I don't want to keep you all night. So if anyone has any final questions or super chats, send them in. Tracy said, Cherie as a final girl would be awesome. Have you ever thought of doing a horror movie?
As a what girl?
A final girl. So I talk about this all the time because I'm obsessed with final girls. It's the survivor girl in horror movies, which you are really like a real life final girl. You have survived every imaginable thing in life and are not only still standing, but this badass warrior. So I think you'd be amazing in horror movies. I'm just saying.
The thing is, they wouldn't have to teach me how to use a fucking chainsaw. That's for sure. I'd be teaching them. Yeah, I love it. Bottom line is, this is, what I love about my life. It took me 14 years to find out who I am, but I know who I am. And I absolutely go with my heart, and I will not apologize for a damn thing, because I know what I'm saying is the truth. And I just want everyone else to be able to look inside themselves and not be afraid to stand up for themselves and their families.
I love it. From my beautiful bestie, roomie, Greg, under Project 2025, all transgenders will be required to read all works by J.K. Rowling. I love this sort of meme that people are doing of, under Project 2025. That, like, I really think that is kind of one of the better ways to combat the left with humor, because Comedy is their kryptonite. They hate laughter. They hate joy. They hate anything that pokes holes in, that really shows the emperor has no clothes and let's laugh at his tiny little penis.
Well, wouldn't it be wonderful for us all to be able to get back to just loving each other and not it being forced where actually, it's so many of my gay and lesbian friends are embarrassed with a whole month of Pride. And I mean, like you, Mike. And the thing is that because like I said, the sushi thing, that sometimes too much is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Always in moderation, no matter what it is. Moderation is the key. And also just being able to, you can't relax the way these people shove shit down our throats. You can't relax, and they're constant. And this Project 25, again, you are so right, Mike. You are so on the money. It is them trying to make us look away from what we know they're doing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just looking for this comment that I wanted to read to you. If I can find it. Here it is. Like I said, you are so unbelievably loved. Cherie, every word you've said, I'm 1000% in your corner. You are always 100% you all the time. Much love, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. How lovely. That means so much to me.
I really hope you know how loved you are.
Well, I certainly love all of my friends on X. I love seeing people stand up for themselves and not letting the bullies get them, because, again, when J.K. Rowling followed me, all of her hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of her followers attacked me. And I remember having to delete at least 100 a day. And then I finally turned around and said, "Oh, fuck yourselves, you idiots." And, but the bullying, which is what they do best on the left. I mean, and again, this is very coordinated, very much like Black Lives Matter, very much like Antifa, what's happening, the anti-Semitism, which I cannot fucking believe.
Right.
And these kids, free Palestine. It's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And they will wake up one day and be so ashamed that they allowed themselves to be taken by this very, very sick, demented agenda. But you know what? In their own time, and I stand with Israel, because that is just I have to. It is, to me, my heart, my soul. That is what I think, that I'm very comfortable with it. Everything that comes out of my mouth and my belief system.
As you should be. Real quick, let me hit these last super chats. Greg, my best, this is my boy who I live with, who got me to Florida. As someone who has handled a chainsaw, you handle chainsaw? What chainsaws are you handling? Like, when are you going to teach me how to use a chainsaw? Both of you got to show me how to chainsaw. What chainsaw do you use? Greg wants to know.
Well, I have been endorsed by Echo now for 20 years. And great emission system, because steel saws, they choke you out, because my face is right there, and that, can you imagine that gas and all that? So they've got a patented emission system that to me is superior. And so I'm very blessed that I have Echo as my sponsor.
Oh my God, I love it. By the way, Greg, I invited Cherie to come stay with us. She has to come to Florida, just letting you know.
Well, I'm going to come. I'm going to come and just say hi. There's no doubt about it. I come to Florida, I'm coming.
Pool party.
Pool party.
Leanne, thank you, Mike and Cherie. Thank you so much, Leanne. That's so sweet. Sunspot, petition to get Mike and Cherie to start a Magic the Gathering movement. I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering. I'm a nerd in different ways. Are you into Magic the Gathering?
No, I've never heard of it.
I know the title and that's it. It's some kind of game. And I think there are like cards and there's some kind of wizards or so. I don't know. That's literally all I know. But I support you, Sunspot.
Absolutely.
Pedro, thank you so much. Love you, Cherie. So based. This is the best stream ever, Mike. I completely agree, dude. Here is somebody for the grift. Much love. Thank you so much. Greg said she's allowed at my home anytime. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Cherie, this is the honor of my life. This was the most amazing thing ever. You are amazing. I'm just speechless. I love you.
We have to do it again, Mike. We have to do it again.
Anytime. I really want to introduce you to my friend. I think he's in the chat. I really want to introduce you to my friend Peter Feliciano because he is a musician and comedian and art. Like, you guys would love each other.
Oh, I know I would. Absolutely.
Ooh, last one. Jen, glad to have you here. Burn a popcorn account. Cherie, if you had 100% control over Gavin Newsom's future, what kind of fate would you bestow upon him?
Well, I would drop kick him out of California, number one, probably in New Mexico where he belongs, and let him deal with the cartel and let him live in fear the way he has allowed us to live in fear. I think that would be poetic justice. Of course, Gavin Newsom, there's 4 families that run California, have run California for decades and decades and decades. And that's Pelosi, Getty, Brown, and Newsom, these 4 families. In fact, Gavin Newsom was raised by the Gettys, which people don't know.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He's really the true Manchurian candidate. I mean, he was a real dummy when he became mayor of San Francisco, destroyed it, absolutely destroyed it. The sad thing is the voters that voted for him for governor, even though I was warning my older sister, Sandra, I said, please don't let Gavin win. Don't vote for Gavin. I'll leave the state. And she thought that was so funny. Well, nobody's laughing now. But these are the elites. These are the political elites. He's a Manchurian candidate, and a part of me thinks if there ever was, a person that an antichrist, I would say it was Gavin Newsom. Truly.
I love that he looks like it. Oh, he looks it. If they had a picture in a book of the Antichrist, it would look like him.
Oh, absolutely. Good looking guy, charisma, but when he talks to you, he grits his teeth. You can tell that I'll never forget they cleaned up San Francisco because President Xi from China was coming. And he turns around and does a news conference. He goes, you must be asking yourselves, so I'm cleaning it up because President Xi is coming. He goes, well, that's true because it's true. And all these people that are losing their businesses and have to step over feces and needles in the street, he doesn't give a damn. San Francisco was the most beautiful place to go. It is a hellhole now. And it's back to a hellhole.
I was there. I've only been there once with Brandon. We were supposed to do a walkaway event there. And the venue canceled us like 2 hours before. So we were like, screw you. We're going to have our event right in front of your building. And there were like screaming bald ladies screaming at the sky. Like, those bitches crazy there. But it was so sad to see the geography, like what a beautiful place it could be.
It was a beautiful place. It was back in the, Dirty Harry days. I mean, you just couldn't go to a more wonderful place. And they let it fall into complete chaos and despair. And because they don't give a shit, they don't care. I wish people really could accept that fact. They don't care about us. They only care about their agenda, about Agenda 21 and getting us all corralled up and on the government dole, taking our freedoms away, because as far as they're concerned, we are standing between them and utopia. That is how sick they are. And this has been many, 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 many decades of planning. So anyone that wants to look up Agenda 21, I mean, I posted it on my page. The first video I ever saw, and it was called Agenda 21 in a Nutshell. And they're people talking about it in the 90s, warning people, warning what they, like our train to nowhere. They have a Bakersfield and they want to take it to Vegas. I mean, where it was supposed to be done in 2022. It's not going to be done now till 2030. And it's costing about 10 times what they originally, I mean, they don't, Newsom lost $200 billion of taxpayer money. I mean, these people are so inept and they don't care. They don't care.
Thank you for the super chat, Sunspot. The San Francisco standoff was the real birth of Walkaway. It got intense, but we stood strong until very late in the night. We'll never forget.
I love Walkaway. Thank you, Brandon.
I told Brandon all the ridiculous scenarios this bitch has gotten me into. Screaming bald ladies in San Francisco, chased by angry mobs in Dallas, getting spit on at the White House. Wow. But I'm thrilled for the experience.
Well, you know what? You guys are a threat. You're a threat because you tell the truth. Anyone that tells the truth is fair game, and they will come after you. And they will do absolutely everything that they can to make sure that you cannot put food in your mouth, put a roof over your head. These are the most evil people. And again, I'm not talking about the Democrats that vote. They are oblivious to what really is going on. Even though I do come across, I don't specify that. And I need to be more specific that it is the Democrat political elite. But anyway, bottom line is that people are waking up because you don't have a choice anymore. It's right there. It's right in front of you. You can't deny it. So now it's time to decide what kind of life you want. If you want freedom, you have to fight them. If you want your kids to have freedom, be able to go where you please in the United States of America and not be told you can't, or have your cars taken away, or have your house taken away, or you got to fight. And you fight by voting. Get this Biden guy out of office.
I hope you know what an amazing and massive service you're doing, though, by speaking up, because for decades, you have millions of fans who maybe have never considered these things, have never thought about them. They just go along with it. And I think you are waking so many people up.
I hope so, Mike. I really do. Because we are at the cliff's edge right now. And that's why they don't mind having an inept, senile idiot as president, or a cackling, inept vice president. They don't care. They're just window dressing. This is the most evil world takeover by these elites. And but we're all in it together now, aren't we, my friend?
Yes, we are, my beloved. So yes. You've got things to do. Your son is playing tonight?
Yes, I'm going to go pick up a friend of mine, and we are going to go see him play. And I love you, and I'm so glad. Thank you for having me. Let's do it again.
Anytime, all the time, every day, any day, you let me know. So if people are in Europe, where can they go see your tour?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, I'm going to be in Germany. I'm going to be in Belgium, Holland. I'm actually looking at the little list here. The Czech Republic. So I'll my first show starts on the 25th. And if you go to CherieCurrie.rocks, Cherie Currie.
And I'll have a link in the bio as soon as the stream is over, by the way.
Thank you. That it will give you all the shows and where they're going to be. And what I'm so excited about is the meet and greets, because that is what really makes it so worth it to me. So I can shake your hand and thank you, because if it wasn't for people that love the Runaways and that have supported me for 48 years, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm so grateful, and I love people so much, and without them, I'm nothing. So
you're amazing.
I'm looking very forward to the meet and greets.
And by the way, let me tell you guys, trust me on this. If you have not, you got to read this woman's book, because beyond anything, it's not just a riveting. This is really a story about the triumph of the human spirit. This is it's like the diary of a survivor of life. I can't get enough of it. I'm currently in the middle of, I think it's my second or third time reading it.
Oh,
it is so beautiful.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, I adore you.
I adore you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you guys so much in the chat. If you guys have still made it to this point, tweet us, send us hashtag, not cherry bomb, send us hashtag truth bomb.
Yeah. Yay. And let's please do this again, my friend.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are. You are a freaking Wonder Woman.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much, Mike. And so again soon, when I get back from Europe, let's do it again.
I can't wait. Hope your son has a great show tonight. Hope you guys in the chat have a great night. This was like the greatest night ever. I'm so happy right now.
Me too. Okay. Good night.
Good night, my love. I'll talk to you guys soon.